Stoop consuming. Start thinking. You scroll. You watch. You swipe. You listen. But when was the last time you actually thought? Is it a world drowning in information? You're not learning, you're escaping. From what? From the uncomfortable silence where real thinking begins. Let's get real. Most men today are information addicts, not in the noble sense of curiosity, but in the numbing sense of distraction. You open YouTube to learn. 5 hours later, you've absorbed 20 ideas, 0 actions, and you're more confused than before. Why? Because consuming feels productive, but it's a lie. It's mental junk food dressed up as knowledge. It doesn't train your mind, it trains your dependency. Thinking is hard, consuming is easy. One changes your life, the other makes sure you never do. The truth, most of what you call learning is passive. It's entertainment in disguise. You're not wrestling with ideas. You're letting them sedate you. Do this test. Close the laptop. Turn off the podcast. Now sit for 15 minutes and ask yourself, what do I believe? Why? If that makes you anxious. Good. Yes. That's your signal. That's the discomfort that births clarity. Let me challenge you right now. What's more powerful? Watching 50 videos on Stoicism, or wrestling with one quote from Marcus Aurelius for an hour? You know the answer, but you don't do it because it's quiet, it's hard. It forces you to face yourself. That's the real reason men avoid thinking, because when the noise fades, the questions surface. Who am I without all these voices? What if I'm wrong? What if I've never really decided anything for myself? Chills yet. But here's the good news. That's where freedom lives. In that exact space between input and reflection, you become someone real. Not just a collector of ideas, but a man who wields them. Not just a fan of wisdom, but someone who lives it. So, here's the shift. Stop defaulting to content. Start carving out thinking time. Ask better questions. Challenge your assumptions. Revisit one idea and apply it hard. You'll find something strange and powerful happens. Your anxiety shrinks. Your confidence grows. Your decisions sharpen. Because your mind is no longer a warehouse. It's a weapon. So stop consuming. Start thinking. Not tomorrow. Not after one more video. Now. Principle number 1. Control what you can. Drop the rest. Here's a brutal truth most people refuse to confront. You control less than you think, and that terrifies the average man. But it shouldn't. It should liberate you. We live in a hyper-connected world that constantly demands your attention and your emotional reaction. The news cycle spins tragedy after tragedy. Social media throws judgment, envy, and anxiety in your face. And most men, they fall for the bait. They get angry, anxious, drained, overwhelmed, because no one ever told them the first rule of mental strength. If it's outside your control, let it burn. Your energy is finite. Every ounce you waste on things you can't change, traffic, gossip, someone else's opinions, energy you've stolen from what you can change, your habits, your thoughts, your effort, your focus. The logic is simple, ruthlessly simple. If something is within your control, take responsibility. If something is not, drop the illusion that you ever had power there in the first place. Pause and think about that. When you stress over a job rejection, when you replay a conversation for hours, when you obsess about what she thinks of you, ... You're living in a mental prison you built yourself. This is not Stoicism as a philosophy, it's Stoicism as survival. The modern world throws endless noise at you. And unless you filter it with discipline, your mind becomes a landfill of chaos. Now here's the shift. Make a mental divide to columns. Column A, what I control. Column B, what I don't. Then operate with surgical focus on column A. Ask yourself, can I control this outcome? Can I influence this process? Or am I just reacting out of fear? You'll be shocked how much you're clinging to illusions. Trying to control someone else's feelings. Trying to rewrite the past. Trying to force certainty in an uncertain world. Let it go. And feel the weight leave your shoulders. Here's the paradox. The less you try to control the uncontrollable, the more powerful you become. Because now your effort is targeted, intentional, clear. No more emotional leakage. No more mental clutter. This is where composure lives. in the man who walks through the storm not because he's unshaken, but because he knows what the storm can't touch: his attitude, his values, his response. So the next time life spins out, don't panic. Ask, what do I still control? And act just on that. That's where the real power is. Quiet.com, unshakable. Principle number 2. Arm your mind each morning. You wouldn't step onto a battlefield without armor. Yet every morning, most men step into the chaos of life with a completely undefended mind. And they wonder why they get overwhelmed, why they lose control, why the smallest comment ruins their entire day. Let's get this straight. The war isn't out there. It's inside your head, inside your thoughts. And if you don't prepare for it, you will lose. Every single time. The Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius didn't wake up hoping for a smooth day. He expected resistance. He predicted frustration. He anticipated selfishness from others. Today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, arrogance. It wasn't pessimism. It was mental preparation.
Think about it.
If you wake up expecting the world to be kind and fair, you're resetting yourself up to be constantly disappointed. But if you wake up knowing there will be friction, then friction doesn't shake you. You expected it. You trained for it. This is where most men fail. They react to life like it is supposed to go their way. When it doesn't, they spiral. Anger, frustration, blame, withdrawal. Why? Because they stepped out the door mentally naked. So what's the solution? You arm your mind before the day begins. Every morning, ask yourself, what discomfort might I face today? What emotional trigger could catch me off guard? How do I want to respond, not react? It's not a long ritual. It's not some dramatic self-help performance. It's 5 quiet minutes of clarity. 5 minutes of stepping into your higher self before the chaos hits. And here's the psychological truth. When you mentally rehearse obstacles, your brain becomes more resilient to them. What once caused stress now feels familiar. Your response is sharper. That's not magic. That's neural conditioning. Now imagine the edge this gives you. Most men walk into their day like clueless targets. You walk in like a strategist aware, composed, prepared. And on the days when things go smoothly, you feel even more in control, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. Let this sink in. You don't rise to the level of your intentions. You fall to the level of your preparation. So prepare like your peace depends on it, because it does. Tomorrow morning, arm your mind. 5 minutes. No excuses. Clarity over chaos. Tension over impulse. Win the morning and you win the war inside. Principle number 3. Love your fate. Let's be brutally honest. Most people don't just resist adversity, they hate it. They spend their entire lives asking, why did this happen to me? But the Stoic doesn't ask that. The Stoic says, good, let it come. This is part of the plan. That's amor fatitha, love of fate. Not just accepting what happens, but embracing it. It's loving it. Even the pain, especially the pain. Now that might sound insane at first. Love misfortune, love loss, love failure. Why would anyone in their right mind do that? Here's why. Because what you fight mentally has power over you. And what you embrace, you strip it of control. Think about it logically. You can't undo the past. You can't prevent every tragedy. You can't shield yourself from every betrayal, loss, illness, or accident. But you can choose to see purpose in pain. You can choose to use it. And once you do, suffering stops being your enemy, becomes your engine. Let me challenge you. What if everything you've hated about your life, the heartbreak, the setbacks, the failure wasn't a mistake? What if it was the exact fire you needed to burn away your weakness? Now ask yourself this. Would you rather live in regret, trying to rewrite the past? Or evolve into someone who says, that broke me and it built me. I needed it. You don't grow in ease. You grow when your pride gets shattered. When your expectations get crushed. When you're forced to start over alone, uncertain, stripped bare. It's not tragedy. It's transformation. It's nature's way of telling you, here's who you could become if you dare. Amor fati is not passive acceptance. It's active transformation. It means you don't curse the storm, you sail straight into it. You don't resist fate, you ride it like a wave, eyes open, jaw clenched, spirit unbroken. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop fighting your life starts working for you. Every scar becomes a lesson. Every loss becomes clarity. Every why me turns into thank you. So from now on, don't just endure. Welcome, appreciate, love. Not because it's easy, but because you're not here to live soft. You're here to become forged. This is your life. This is your fate. Don't just survive it. To own it. Love it. Use it. That's what makes you unstoppable. Principle number 4. Feel everything. Act on nothing. There's a dangerous lie being sold to modern men. Follow your feelings. No. Feel everything, but don't obey it. Here's the reality. Feelings are signals, not commands. They're messengers, not generals. And if you treat every emotion like a marching order, your life will become a battlefield of regret. Let's break it down. Anger flares. Fear tightens your chest. Jealousy creeps in. You're human. Of course you feel. Now, but if your instinct is to immediately lash out, shut down, or act impulsively, you're not in control. Your emotions are. And that's the mark of a weak man, because any child can react. It takes discipline and strength to feel the full storm and not move an inch until you choose to. It's not events that disturb us, but our judgment about them. Epictetus, think about that. The person who pissed you off, the setback that broke you, the insult that stung, those things only have power if you let your reaction hand it over. Now here's where it gets deep. Stoicism doesn't teach you to suppress your emotions. It teaches you to observe them. Let the emotion rise. Let it speak. But sit quietly like a king at the head of the table until it finishes. Then decide. This is how you become dangerous in the best way. A man who's emotionally aware, but not emotionally owned. Let's get practical. The next time you're triggered, try this. 1. Pause. 2. Name the emotion. Literally say it to yourself. This is anger. This is fear. 3. Breathe. 4. Ask, what would my higher self do right now? 5. Then act, or don't, but on your terms. You'll feel something shift inside you. A strange calm, a new kind of confidence. Because in that moment, you're no longer a puppet to your mood. You're the architect of your response. Here's the psychological layer. Every time you interrupt an emotional reaction and replace it with a conscious response, you're rewiring your brain. You're not just controlling behavior, you're reshaping your character. And that's rare, that's powerful, because most men are chasing calm. You're becoming it. Let this principle tattoo itself into your mind. Feel everything. Act on nothing until you've chosen. Because the world doesn't need more emotionally reactive men. It needs more grounded ones. Still ones. Men who can walk through fire and not flinch. Be one of them. Principle number 5. Master the art of shutting up in a world obsessed with being heard. One of the most powerful things a man can do is say nothing. Not out of fear, not from weakness, but from mastery. Most people speak to react, to defend, to fill silence. But silence isn't empty, it's strategic. Let's cut to the truth. If your first instinct in conflict is to speak fast, argue louder, or fire back, you've already lost. Because your emotions are in control, your pride is doing the talking. And neither has your best interest at heart. Silence is a source of great strength. Lao Tzu, the Stoics, understood this long before. Think about the last time someone insulted you. What if, instead of defending yourself or snapping back, you just ... paused? No defense, no ego, just stillness. Do you know how unsettling that is to most people? That's not weakness. That's dominance under control. When you master silence, you shift the power dynamic. You're no longer reacting to their energy or making them confront themselves. Your silence becomes a mirror, and most people can't stand what they see. Here's the deeper logic. Most impulsive words come from one of 3 places: security, ego, or fear. When you feel the urge to speak, just to protect your image, to sound smart, or to be right, you're acting from weakness disguised as confidence. You're stepping into clarity. You're letting the noise settle. You're listening first to others, then to yourself. That's where real power grows, practical discipline. The next time you feel the urge to speak in a heated moment, try this. 1. Inhale slowly. 2. Clench your jaw for 3 seconds. 3. Ask yourself, is this necessary, or is this my ego flinching? 4. Then say nothing. Let the room breathe. Let your silence speak. People might feel uncomfortable. Let them. You're not here to ease tension, you're here to control your energy. So over time, you'll notice something powerful. You're not just quieter, you're sharper, you listen better, you think clearer. And when you do speak, people actually listen because you've built weight behind your words. This isn't about being passive, it's about choosing your battles, controlling your impulses, and understanding that not every attack needs a counterattack. So train yourself. Don't just talk less, talk better. Let others waste breath while you gather strength. And when the time comes to speak, make it count. Silence isn't the absence of power, it's proof that you own it. Principle number 6. Accept the unknown. Here's a question most people avoid. How much of your life is truly certain? Answer. Almost none of it. The future unwritten. The people you love, not guaranteed. Your job, your health, your relationships, your time on this earth, any of it can disappear in a moment. Uncomfortable? It should be, but it's also exactly where your power begins. The Stoics didn't run from uncertainty. They stared it in the eye and said, if nothing is promised, then everything is a gift. Don't demand that things happen as you wish. Wish them to happen as they do. Epictetus, this isn't fatalism. This is freedom. Because once you stop needing life to be predictable, you finally start living. Look deeper. Most anxiety isn't about what's happening now. It's about what might happen. Your mind races through what ifs, trying to build a mental shield of control. But you never win that battle. The mind can't outpace chaos, and trying to will only exhaust you. Accept it. Accept that the deal might fall through, the person might leave, the diagnosis might come. And still you'll breathe, you'll stand, you'll continue. Because your peace doesn't come from certainty. It comes from trusting yourself in uncertainty. That no matter what happens, you'll meet it. You'll adapt. You'll respond. That's strength. Quiet. Calm. Rooted. Not because everything is going right, but because you've let go of the illusion that it must. Try this simple practice. Each morning, tell yourself, today I don't need to control outcomes. I only need to meet them with presence. Then go live. 1 hour at a time. 1 breath at a time. You'll notice something strange. You become lighter, more focused. Your mind stops spinning. Your actions become deliberate, not from fear, but from clarity. It's not about being passive. It's about being available to life, fully, without the emotional clutter of needing guarantees. So when plans fall apart, breathe. When someone disappoints you, pause. When the path disappears, take a step anyway. That's the man you're becoming. A man who doesn't break when the future shifts. It's because he expects it to shift. And because he's not anchored in outcomes, he's anchored in resilience. Accepting the unknown doesn't mean you stop planning. It means you stop depending. It means you plant your effort. But release the need to control the weather. And in doing so, you become unshakable. The future is uncertain. Good. That means anything is still possible. Now walk forward with calm eyes and open hands. Principle number 7. Set inner goals, not outer ones. Here's a hard question most men never ask themselves. Am I chasing this because it's true to me or because I want applause? Let that sink in. Because most goals we set aren't ours. They're echoes of what society told us success looks like. 6 figures, shredded abs, luxury car, 100,000 followers. Nothing wrong with any of those. But if they're the only drivers behind your actions, you're walking a path that's not yours. And one day you'll hit the finish line and feel absolutely empty. That's the trap of external goals. They tie your self-worth to results you can fully control and validation you'll never fully own. Here's what the Stoics taught instead. Set inner goals. Goals based on effort, discipline, values, things no one can take from you. If you seek tranquility, do less. Or more accurately, do what's essential. Marcus Aurelius. Think about that. An external goal says, I want to bench 300 pounds so I look impressive. An inner goal says, I want to train every day with discipline and presence. One depends on outcome. The other builds character. The logic is undeniable. You can't always control the end result, but you always control your input. When you anchor your identity to effort, you win, even when you fail. Because the scoreboard doesn't define you, your integrity does. Let's apply it. Want to lose weight? External goal, I need to hit 180 pounds. Inner goal, I will train 5 days a week and nourish my body with respect. Want to grow your career? It's external goal, I must get promoted by year's end. Inner goal, I will bring excellence to everything I touch and sharpen my craft daily. See the difference? One is based on pressure, the other is based on purpose. And here's the best part. Ironically, men who set inner goals tend to achieve the outer ones without chasing them obsessively. Why? Because they're not burned out by approval, they're fueled by principle. Now take a breath and ask yourself, what goal in your life is actually built on insecurity? What would happen if you stopped chasing recognition and started chasing depth? You'll feel uncomfortable. Good. That means you're getting closer to the truth. The man who sets inner goals walks with peace. He's consistent whether watched or unseen. Doesn't need applause to stay focused. Because he's playing a game only he can judge, and only he can win. So set your standard. Define your values. Detach from outcome, and dive into effort. Your scoreboard is internal. That's what makes you unstoppable. Principle number 8. Serve the tribe. Let's confront something uncomfortable. Modern masculinity has been infected by isolation. We glorify the lone wolf, the self-made man, the I don't need anyone mindset. It sounds strong, but it's a lie, because true strength isn't built in solitude. It's built for something bigger than you. The Stoics understood this centuries ago.
Epictetus reminded his students,
You are not a solitary being. You are part of the whole. In other words, you are not the mission. You are part of the mission. Pause and ask yourself who benefits from your discipline, your wisdom, your self-control. If the answer is just me, then you're operating at a fraction of your potential. Because the real test of manhood isn't how well you perform when it's just you. It's what happens when others depend on you. That's where the weight truly builds, and that's where your value is revealed. Let's break this down logically. There's a difference between individual power and tribal strength. Individual power wins games. Tribal strength wins wars. Look around you. The strongest communities, the most resilient cultures, the most enduring legacies, they were all forged through shared responsibility in men who woke up every day with this mindset. I train not just for myself, but to protect, provide, and uplift others. Your tribe might be your family, your team, your friends, your neighborhood, your business. It doesn't matter the size. What matters is the intention. Because when you serve the tribe, your discipline gains purpose. Your sacrifices gain meaning. Strength becomes shared fuel. And here's the paradox. When you give, you grow. When you step up for others, you rise beyond your limitations. You tap into deeper patience, clearer thinking, greater resilience. Why? Because it's no longer just about you. You've outgrown your ego. But serving isn't about becoming a martyr. It's not about saying yes to every demand or burning yourself out for approval. It's about intentional contribution. It's about asking, how can I leave every space stronger than I found it? Sometimes that means offering guidance. Sometimes it's simply showing up. Sometimes it's shutting up and listening. But the mindset is constant. I exist to strengthen the collective. So ask yourself today, where can I step up? Who in my world needs more than words? Who needs my presence, my courage, my clarity? Because a man who lives only for himself will die forgotten. But a man who serves the tribe becomes immortal in the hearts of those he lifted. Principle number 9. Seek discomfort. Here's a truth most men avoid until it's too late. If you don't choose discomfort on your terms, life will force it on you when you're not ready. If you are not built for ease. Ease dulls your instincts. It numbs your drive. It whispers comfort while stealing your edge. And slowly, without realizing it, you become a softer version of yourself, mentally, emotionally, physically. But discomfort? Discomfort sharpens. it exposes, it builds. Every great man in history has one thing in common. They voluntarily walked into what others ran from. Why? Because they understood the paradox. The more discomfort you choose, the less you fear life. Let's break it down. When you wake up early, when no one forces you, you're training your mind to obey discipline, not desire. When you take a cold shower, fast, speak the uncomfortable truth. Or embrace solitude, you're rewiring your nervous system to stop fleeing discomfort and start leaning into it. Why does this matter? Because when crisis hits you won't flinch. You've rehearsed it. You've lived versions of it every day. You're not surprised by difficulty, you're conditioned for it. Ask yourself right now, when was the last time you did something hard just because it was hard? When was the last time you said, this is uncomfortable, therefore I must do it? If the answer makes you squirm, you're overdue. But discomfort doesn't always have to be brutal. It just has to be intentional. It can look like turning off your phone for a day, holding eye contact in silence, admitting you're wrong without defense, running when your body says walk, saying no when it's easier to say yes. These are tiny doses of challenge, but they add up. Each one is a brick in the fortress of your will. One is a vote for the man you're becoming. And here's the twist. The more you seek discomfort, the more you begin to crave it, not because you enjoy pain, but because you see what it creates. Focus, clarity, humility, strength. Try this. Choose one discomfort per day. Small, manageable, deliberate. Do it first thing in the morning. Make it a ritual. It's not to punish yourself, but to prove to your mind, I am in control here, not my comfort zone. Because at the end of your life, comfort won't be what you're proud of. You'll remember the days you pushed through resistance. You'll remember who you became in the cold, in the silence, in the pressure. So don't run from discomfort. Seek it. Invite it. Master it. That's where your future self is waiting. Principle number 10. Daily self-check. Let's get one thing straight. You can't fix what you never examine. Most men drift not because they're lazy, but because they never stop to check the compass. They move fast, but they move blind. That's why this principle matters, the daily self-check, the quiet moment where you confront yourself. No filters, no excuses, no distractions. Just you, your thoughts, and the truth. Think about it. You wouldn't drive cross-country without checking your gas, oil, or tires. So why do you think you can go weeks or years without checking the direction of your own mind? The Stoics made this non-negotiable. When the light has been taken away and my wife is silent, I examine my entire day and go over my actions. The Seneca, that wasn't poetry. It was practice. And it worked. Because self-checks do something no productivity hack can offer. They make you accountable to yourself, not to your boss, not to your partner, not to the world, but to the man you said you'd become. Here's the uncomfortable truth most avoid. You lie to yourself more than anyone else ever has. You say you're focused, then scroll for hours. You say you're calm, then snap at the slightest criticism. Say you're disciplined, then skip the hard reps. But when you sit down pen in hand, silence around you and ask, how did I show up today? There's nowhere to hide. That's exactly the point. Because from that place, you grow. Try this simple but powerful routine. Each night before bed, write down 3 questions. 1. What did I do well today? 2. Where did I fall short of my standard? 3. What can I do differently tomorrow? Not 10 pages, not overthinking, just honest reflection. Over time, this habit will change everything. You'll catch your own patterns. You'll close the gap between your values and your actions. You'll stop repeating the same mistakes in different disguises. And more than that, you'll start to respect yourself, because you'll see the man you're building, day by day, not by force, not by guilt, but by awareness and alignment. Let this land. A man who checks himself daily doesn't need the world to correct him. He autocorrects. He evolves in real time. He doesn't fear judgment because he's already judged himself, and he's doing the work. So tonight, no matter how tired you are, pause, sit with your day, ask the hard questions, write the honest answers. That's how warriors are forged. It's not in the big battles, but in the quiet rooms, one check at a time, every damn day. Wrap up. Stop just existing. Start living like a Stoic. Most people don't live. They react. They wake up, check their phones, chase validation, dodge discomfort, and crawl into bed more drained than they started. That's not living. That's existing on autopilot. Here's the terrifying part. You can waste decades like this, productive, busy, entertained, but empty, till one day something shakes you. A loss, a betrayal, a diagnosis. And suddenly you realize, I've been drifting. This is your wake-up call, because drifting is the enemy, and Stoicism is the anchor. It's not as a philosophy on paper, but as a daily code for how to live deliberately. Let's break this down. The Stoic doesn't avoid difficulty, doesn't chase applause, doesn't complain when life turns against him. Instead, he does something far more rare. He meets every moment with clarity and courage. He knows what's within his control and lets go of what's not, prepares his mind before the world pulls him apart. He welcomes fate, hardship, and uncertainty, not as enemies but as tools. He feels deeply but acts with discipline. He chooses silence over ego, stillness over reaction. He checks himself daily, not to punish, but to align. And most importantly, he lives for more than himself. That's not just strength, that's freedom. So what now? Because knowing these 10 principles isn't enough. You have to live them, not tomorrow. Not when life calms down. Now, pick one. Just one. Maybe it's setting internal goals. Maybe it's your daily self-check. Maybe it's finally facing the discomfort you've been avoiding. Whatever it is, start today, quietly, without announcement.
I'll let
Your actions speak where your words once did, because the truth is, no one's coming to save you. We have to become the kind of man who saves himself. And Stoicism isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming anchored so when the storm hits, you don't drift. You hold. You respond. You rise. Let this challenge stay with you tonight. What would your life look like if you stopped existing and started living Stoic? Not as a trend, but as a quiet revolution inside your mind. Because when you live with intention, you don't just survive the world, you reshape it, starting with yourself. So stop waiting. Start leading. The time isn't next year, next week, or even tomorrow. It's now.